Most people think waking up a sleeping dog is completely harmless, until the dog reacts like you just interrupted a secret military operation inside its brain. Dogs don't just nap all day. They go through deep sleep cycles, dream, process emotions, and sometimes become extremely disoriented if they're startled awake the wrong way. And while most dogs won't react aggressively, some can panic for a split second before they even realize what's happening. So, before you shake your dog awake again because it's snoring too loud or twitching like it's chasing ghosts, here's why you should be careful. Before we start, make sure to check out our selected and recommended products linked down below. 1. Dogs experience deep sleep, just like humans. A lot of people don't realize this, but dogs don't just randomly shut down for a few hours and recharge like furry smartphones. They actually go through different sleep cycles, including deep sleep and REM sleep, just like humans do. And if you've ever seen your dog twitching, kicking its legs, softly barking, growling, or moving its paws while asleep, there's a very good chance it's dreaming. Which honestly raises a lot of questions about what's happening inside their heads. Is your dog reliving a fun walk, chasing a squirrel, fighting invisible enemies, defending the house from a plastic bag that moved suspiciously? Nobody fully knows, but scientists do know that dogs process emotions and memories during sleep, especially during REM sleep, when the brain becomes highly active. Puppies actually spend even more time in REM sleep because their brains are developing rapidly and processing huge amounts of new information every day. That's why puppies sleep like tiny unemployed landlords with absolutely no responsibilities. And older dogs dream too. In fact, senior dogs often twitch and vocalize even more during sleep, which can look surprisingly dramatic if you're not expecting it. The important thing is this. When your dog is deep in sleep, its brain is fully engaged in a different state of awareness, which means suddenly waking it up can be a lot more intense and confusing than most people think. To your dog, it's not just, "Oh, I woke up." It can feel more like, "Why am I suddenly conscious and who is touching me?" And honestly, fair reaction. 2. Sudden wake-ups can trigger reflex reactions. Here's the part most people don't expect. Even the sweetest dog in the world can react badly for a split second if it gets startled awake suddenly enough. Not because the dog is aggressive, not because it secretly hates you, but because waking up confused is a very instinctive moment for animals. Think about it. Your dog is deep in sleep, dreaming, completely disconnected from reality. And suddenly, someone grabs it, shakes it, or touches it unexpectedly. For a brief moment, the brain hasn't fully caught up yet. And during that tiny window of confusion, some dogs react automatically. A startled bark, a growl, snapping into the air, jumping up in panic. It's usually a reflex, not a conscious decision. The dog basically goes from peacefully unconscious to defensive survival mode in half a second. Older dogs are especially prone to this because hearing or vision problems can make waking up even more disorienting. Anxious dogs and rescue dogs can also react more strongly if they already tend to feel insecure or startled easily. And this is where owners sometimes misunderstand what happened. They think, "My dog randomly tried to bite me." But in reality, the dog may not have even fully realized who touched it yet. Once fully awake, most dogs calm down almost immediately and go right back to being affectionate, normal idiots again. That's why suddenly startling sleeping dogs is never a great idea, especially by touching their face, grabbing them abruptly, or yelling loudly right next to them. Honestly, humans react badly to sudden wake-ups too. We just usually don't have teeth involved. 3. Dogs need way more sleep than people realize. One of the reasons waking dogs suddenly can affect them so much is because dogs sleep a lot, like an almost suspicious amount. Most adult dogs sleep somewhere between 12 to 14 hours a day, and puppies can easily sleep 18 hours or more. Giant breeds often sleep even longer because carrying around a horse-sized body all day is apparently exhausting. And despite what it looks like, dogs aren't just being lazy. Sleep is incredibly important for their physical and mental health. This is when their bodies recover, muscles repair, memories process, and stress levels reset. Active dogs especially need huge amounts of rest after exercise, training, or long periods of stimulation. That's why overtired dogs can actually become cranky, hyper, emotional, or weirdly chaotic. Kind of like humans running on 3 hours of sleep and caffeine-fueled bad decisions. And honestly, some dogs are terrible at managing their own energy. Puppies are the best example. They'll sprint around the house like tiny possessed creatures, attack furniture for no reason, bite the air dramatically, and then collapse asleep mid-existence 5 minutes later. That's not random. Their brains and bodies are constantly switching between intense activity and recovery. Even adult dogs can become overstimulated if they don't get enough proper rest. Poor sleep can affect mood, stress levels, learning ability, and overall behavior. So when your dog is deeply asleep, it's not just doing nothing. Its body is actively recovering and processing the day, which is probably why some dogs react so dramatically when someone interrupts it for absolutely no reason. Imagine finally reaching peak comfort and somebody suddenly shakes you awake because, look how cute he sleeps. Honestly, criminal behavior. 4. Some dogs should never be startled awake. While most dogs might just wake up confused for a second, some dogs react much more intensely when startled awake. And those are the dogs owners really need to be careful with. Older dogs, for example, often deal with hearing loss, vision problems, or cognitive decline. So imagine being half asleep, barely seeing clearly, suddenly feeling unexpected contact, and having no idea what's happening for the first few seconds. That confusion can trigger panic almost instantly. Rescue dogs can also react differently, especially if they came from stressful environments or experienced trauma earlier in life. Some dogs develop very strong startle responses because their brains learn to stay alert even while resting. And protective breeds, those dogs are already naturally wired to react quickly to potential threats. So, waking one up aggressively at 2 a.m. is basically asking its survival instincts to clock into work immediately. That doesn't mean these dogs are bad. It means they're animals with instincts, emotions, memories, and reactions that humans sometimes underestimate. The safest way to wake a dog is usually calmly and gradually. Call their names softly. Make noise nearby. Let them wake up naturally instead of grabbing or startling them physically. Because the goal isn't wake the dog up instantly. The goal is wake the dog up without accidentally activating factory-installed wolf software. And honestly, that's a pretty reasonable goal. Most sleeping dogs aren't dangerous. In fact, most of the time they'll just wake up confused, stare at you dramatically for a second, and go right back to sleep like nothing happened. But understanding how dogs sleep helps explain why startling them awake the wrong way can sometimes trigger fear, panic, or reflex reactions before they're fully conscious. At the end of the day, dogs dream, recover, process emotions, and rest while they sleep, just like we do. Which is probably why humans created the phrase, "let sleeping dogs lie," in the first place. Don't forget to check out our selected and recommended products. They might just be the perfect tools to make your life easier when it comes to caring for your pawed friend.